All right, welcome back. We've since been joined by Tony Nadi, who is the Secretary General of the Lower Niger Congress, to continue this discussion on the restructuring of the Constitution. And of course, we're talking about that effort by the National Assembly now to amend the Constitution to allow governors, to decentralize the police now and allow governors to issue orders to the police. And of course, I still have Libra Soshoma here. So Nadi, let me start with you on this issue of the restructuring of the Constitution. Of course, we've seen Atiku Abubakar lately coming out in support of the restructuring of the country and all of that. At the moment, we have a constitution amendment process going on in the National Assembly. How is that fundamentally different from what people like you are pushing for?
Like a building that has a foundational flaw. The building is cracked at foundation, is bent over. It just progressively getting to where it will collapse and kill many people.
You can't fix the foundation.
All of what they are doing in the National Assembly is like changing the ceiling, dressing the window, and the building will come down. And it is worse when the people who are the building was already coming down by itself. You now have people who are actively pursuing the collapsing of that building, and I'm one of those. And all of those who are calling for restructuring are actively pursuing the removal of the structure that occupies the Nigeria that is defined by 1999 Constitution is a suzerainty that is suppressing the sovereignties that the British had locked in here since 1914.
But there's something, very quickly, there's something I want you to get straight, that in this call for restructuring, we're having, the views are not the same. So some people, to them, when they say restructuring, what they actually
mean... Can I give you a definition?
No, just hold on now. When they say restructuring, what they actually mean is fiscal federalism, for instance, change certain part of the Constitution, for instance, so as to, for instance, devolve powers to for instance, local government, change certain aspects.
Your question is already wrong. Change parts of the Constitution, and I ask which Constitution, because no one alphabet is going to be taken from this document.
And that's what I'm saying. That's
we need
what
to
some
go
people
there.
Actually mean. They
are ignorant. They are ignorant. And why I say so is that restructuring is, that's also stated by the analogy with a building that is foundationally flawed, and that will go down by itself whether anybody except
Can't
people
you
take
fix
it down.
that foundation without pulling down the building?
No.
You just need to pull down the building.
What happened was a situation in which we agreed on the structure we wanted in place. In 1966, some fellows turned it all up. By the time they toppled the 5 constitutions that defined the federation of a federation is a union of constitutions, like different countries that will have to cooperate. Germany, France, Portugal during European Union. That was the kind of constitution that Western region, Eastern region, Northern region used to go into independence.
A federation does not necessarily mean that.
A federation does not
necessarily mean a union of different countries.
No. I'm saying union of different constitutions.
Okay, because I thought you said union of
different countries. No, I was just giving an example people can relate with. You remember that why Nigeria became one country at independence was that the Western region that had its own constitution by 1957, the East following, and the North in 1959, they each had their constitutions. They went to Lancaster House discussions in London and were able to reach an agreement as to how they can be one union. It was on the basis of that agreement that Nigeria became one country. The 3 now donated the powers that became the federal constitution. By 1963, through constitutional processes, the Midwest joined. So there were now 4 regional constitutions and 1 federal constitution. And the reason it had to be 2, because of the multi-ethnic nature of the Nigerian setting, in which you needed, it was in fact the northern region that insisted. You remember the Ahmadu Bello's demand, the 8-point demands of what will assure the North into getting into a union with the rest of the people.
So what should the lawmakers in the National Assembly be doing?
The lawmakers in the National Assembly, let me even take it straight from the Constitution so that people can, the confusion can stop.
I'm Section even happy 14, you're calling this a Constitution anyway.
That's
what we have.
That's how people describe it. But of course, we've gone to court to say it's not so. by section 14, subsection 2A, the Constitution says the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be a state based on the principles of democracy and social justice and sovereignty. That it is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people. I'm trying to give you the answer to what the National Assembly can do and what they cannot do, and what constitutes this restructuring. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. For you to have a better appreciation of that and to see the criminality of what is going on in the name of amendment in the National Assembly.
Let me just quickly ask you now.
Yes.
In this case, are you saying under the present system, sovereignty does not belong to the people?
They took away the sovereignty. Let me complete the process. This is how constitution that will give power and authority to government must come. It's stated here.
Just go on.
Then we come to the preamble of our constitution. It goes ahead to say that we, the people of Federal Republic, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in harmony as one indivisible country, do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following constitution. This is the claim at the preamble. What we have against this constitution and this amendment by the National Assembly is the fact that in the same document you have the story of the author, Absalom Abaka, printed, where he said,
no doubt.
You know, so,
I mean, we've had that.
No. Let those who are listening realize that we're saying that it is a forgery to put our signature on a document we did not make, because this we the people means we the Ijo, we the Ogoni, we the Doma, we the Fulani, having family. Can you resolve without meeting? We never met, according to this decree number 24 here, because Absalom told the story of how he set a committee that went around and came back to him, and that they added and subtracted from what was brought back, the balance being signed into law to be called the 1999 Constitution.
I want us to take it from where we are, not where we ought to be or where we were. And also technology had technology had been so improved. Even the analogy of giving of a building, technology had been so improved that you now begin to structure buildings even where they are defect from foundation. And that's the basic problem. Where are we presently, and what can we do? Where we are presently, the Constitution also makes provision for how you can amend every suggestion, everything you have suggested. You can sit down. That's why even in the processes of amendment,
the land
there
is disputed. The land is disputed. The land is disputed.
Even in disputing the land,
yes,
these are processes also, and that's why there are public hearings. And so I consistently maintain, I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band of criminality, because it amounts to criminality to hold on to this document as source of authority and power. It amounts to criminality.
Even you are holding on to that document as a source of authority.
Because
if you go to court, you're still going to use that document.
We went to court to say it's a fraud.
Deji. And at the end of the day, what was the position of the courts?
They can't move forward. They can't move left. They
can't
move
you,
right.
But you go to represent clients in cases before the court.
The problem is because we refuse. The problem is because we refuse to accept where we are. We are still living in that world of pre-1960, and so because we refuse to move away from that position, we are nowhere.
70% of the people who call Nigerians now,
where we are today,
are ready to do anything to recover their space from that Nigeria that's occupying
where
by
we are
force.
Today. That's the issue now.
That's where we are.
And the same 70% that you talk about.
The invitation I got was where the IPOB and all of those who are taking steps to force the situation to a discussion.
The point
there
is,
are people who say it can no longer be discussed.
Fantastic.
There are people who say it can no longer be discussed.
Wait, you see,
and the people who are choking are saying they will leave the union.
Okuni was here. At the last dispensation, some person said it cannot be discussed. And a platform was provided, even for people who said, look, we need a more robust platform to discuss. And they all went there to discuss, knowing fully well that that discussion will not lead anywhere without recourse to Section 9 of the same constitution that we are condemning.
That's exactly
so that's where, for me, I see all of these
arguments. That process of 2014, the people who pushed for that conference rejected it even before it started, because we were saying that if what went wrong with Nigeria was the jettisoning of the 5 constitutions that defined it, the remedy lies in bringing back those constitutions in any manner it could come today, so that we do like South Africa did with apartheid constitution. That's the kind of situation we have at hand.
Well,
South Africa did not solve apartheid by amendment.
Rounding up, I want to quickly touch on this amendment by the National Assembly, and that's why, for me, I think it's an attitudinal problem. This amendment will create a bigger problem. And because
which amendment now?
The amendment of the police.
The police, okay, yes, because I actually wanted to talk about that.
And that's where, for me, I think we need to make more input into any amendment. And so it is not for us to sit down and wish that we'll go pre-1960, where we'll still all come back like, you know, in Greek city-states, everybody sits down and decide, oh, this constitution, yes or no. Where we are, we need to make input. And it is not, the Nigerian police is not about granting more powers to governors. No. It is about granting autonomy to the police so that it will be a Nigerian police.
What is Nigeria? That's our question.
And not a police owned by a governor or a police owned by the president, as currently, you know, constituted. The same police, you find out, so that if the Mr. President commits an offense or breach any provisions of the law, or a governor breach any provisions of the law, the police can go after him, knowing fully well that one is independent and is secure. And that's why also we talk about the chief prosecutor.
That is what the lawmakers should be looking at.
These are the areas the lawmakers should be looking at, and not sharing. It's like a national cake where you begin to share powers. Give to this man a little because he's crying so much now. Give to this other man a little. And if we continue like that, and that's where we have always had fault. Oh, the Igbos cried a little, oh, give them a share. And no, the Jaws cried a little, give them a share. No, it shouldn't be. It should be a holistic process. And that's why it should be an attitudinal process where we are truly sincere to righting the wrongs.
What do you make of the move now to, you know, decentralize the police? It's in the National Assembly. The Constitution is, you know, they are trying to amend the Constitution now to decentralize the police, and then basically so you could have, you know, state police, so to speak, governors controlling the police as well.
There are 68 such items in this constitution crying for complete reversal. Police is just one. I cannot have electricity in eastern Nigeria today because some people from one part of the country wrote it into the constitution they imposed on me, that generation and transmission of electricity is put beyond my reach.
Some people wrote it.
Yes.
From one part of the country.
Yes. I have a map of Nigeria here.
No, I'm just saying, when you say some people wrote it from some part of the country.
People, the reason the constitution is being rejected on the streets of eastern Nigeria and in the Niger Delta area today is that we have 68 items.
We can't conveniently say the constitution has been rejected on the streets of eastern Nigeria.
That is what IPOB is doing. That is what OPC was doing.
That is what
Boko Haram is doing.
That is what IPOB is doing. Does not mean IPOB's views reflect the views of the
Let us go to referendum. Let us go to referendum.
If you look at paragraph 13, part 2 of the 4th schedule of the Constitution on concurrent legislative list, it says the National Assembly may make laws for the Federation of any part thereof with respect to electricity, transmission of electricity or any part.
The National Assembly.
The National Assembly.
A foreign investor with $5 billion of other people's money coming to my community.
And then section
to do electricity has to wait for some lunatic somewhere.
Says a House of Assembly may make laws for the state.
Let's not waste time on this.
Nobody is a lunatic.
Listen now, section 14. Electricity establishment in the states of electric powers, the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity to areas not covered in that state. And so this, I intentionally went to this section. You look at section 13, paragraph 13 and paragraph 14, because some of these are product of amendments to this same constitution. Initially, it was just the National Assembly.
Why must I require the license? Why must I require the license of somebody from Katsina?
Let us all make it.
Why must I
require the license? I have a problem when you say you require the license from somebody from Katsina.
How?
He just told you. Your state can generate.
No. He says in areas not covered by
I have a
grid.
problem when you
in
say
areas not
you
covered
have
by
to
the
require
grid.
a license from
That
somebody
is what
from
the Constitution.
Katsina.
If you're anybody
No,
who does not know that,
honestly, personally,
and is a lawyer,
no, personally, I don't
I'm
think we should
ashamed
be
of
looking
such a
at,
person.
I don't think we should be
Anybody who
looking
does
at
not
it.
know the meaning of exclusive list.
No, I don't think we should be looking at it from that point
What
of
the
view.
concurrent
When you
list
say
we have
somebody
here
from
was made-
Katsina,
Yes.
how do you mean?
Because the man who wrote the decree, who wrote the decree is from that part. That's why I
Which
picked
man
up this
wrote
map.
the decree?
Absalom Abaka. Let us place everybody where they belong on this map. All of the decrees that became 1999 Constitution from 1966, let us see who created the states. Let us see who created the local governments. Let us see who created the exclusive list. Let us then see why I will have to abide. It was imposed by decree.
And then you see
And
another
I
problem
say I
of
will not take
imposition.
it.
Of imposition.
I have coal.
I have had cause to quarrel
I have
with Tony
coal.
on this.
I have coal. I cannot generate
Draw a
electricity.
map of Biafra. You include
Nobody talk
some part
about
of
Biafra
Delta
here.
states.
Nobody has talked about
Did you say
Biafra
map that
here.
you are showing? We're not talking
Nobody
about
has talked
Biafra.
about Biafra. We're saying that Nigeria, as
If we're
currently
talking about-
constituted, is a fraud against
we
the
agree.
people who are complaining.
We agree.
Let us go and discuss. If we cannot discuss, we must disperse now, not tomorrow.
We agree.
We must disperse now. If
what
we
I-
are not discussing,
one thing I know is
if we are
that-
not discussing the basis of the union,
Mr. Nadi,
nobody is going to. We are not going to go back to 1967 where they
Mr.
begin to
Nadi,
kill people. Look at the military
One thing
invasion
I-
of the East
one
that
thing-
is going
one
on.
thing I
Who are they
know-
talking to?
one-
In 2016,
One thing I know is this.
the union is
You
no
cannot-
longer acceptable to us as defined by this constitution.
When you say to us, who?
Let us go to referendum. The
Who?
people,
When you
the 70 million people
That's
in
what
the
I'm
East.
saying. You can't claim to
We must go
represent
to
the
referendum.
70
There's
million
no other
people.
way to determine it.
And you can't claim
We
for the
must go
people,
to
the 70
referendum.
million people.
We must go to referendum. That's the way to determine it.
Because this
If anybody sits in Abuja, including the people from that territory, if they sit in Abuja,
fantastic.
if they sit in Abuja and claim to be there on behalf of those who have been shot on the streets of Aba and Onitsha, they are going to come home to face those people.
Because in that National Assembly, you also
We
have
have
people
sent,
from
we
that.
have sent,
Exactly.
we have sent
So
a warning.
what we should
We
be
have
driving
sent-
from now, what we should be driving is look.
They have to make up their mind where
let's
they stand.
include processes
To,
of referendum.
to carry on with this
Simple,
criminality,
no,
we
no.
must stop, like South Africa stopped in
It's not about-
1990.
It's not about shouting.
South Africa had the same situation.
Tony, let's have a robust discussion on this.
South Africa had the same situation.
We have to end this discussion.
It's not
One thing I just want us to be clear about is this. Tony, you said the National Assembly. Fact is, in the
If
National
they are
Assembly,
engaging in criminality
fact is, in the National
by
Assembly,
holding up this
you
constitution up
also-
to this hour,
in the
and
National
they are going
Assembly,
to pay
you
to their
also have-
people
in the
for
National
their
Assembly-
role in that criminality.
in the National Assembly, you also have people from the Southeast.
They
You
don't
people
have the
from
mandate
every
of
part the
anybody to
country.
go and uphold this constitution. They are doing it on their own for their belly.
Quickly, you find that that's why at every turn, there are amendments. But because the amendments are not sincere enough, and that's why every 4 years we keep.
Who will amend the 36
And
states that we
that's
now have? How did we come about the 36 states? What kind of amendment will
and that's
will
why
address
for-
that?
that's why
Who
for
will
me-
amend the 74 local?
That's why it
who will
needs to
amend
be
the
an
74 local government areas?
all-inclusive process.
Who will
Not a
amend it? The
shouting.
people who
Not
have
a
the votes
shouting
there
match.
already
It should be an
already have numbered
all-inclusive
me.
process.
The people who have created the states in such a manner that they have numbered me are there to do the amendment. I can't get anything from them.
I'm sorry, we just have to end the program here. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Well, that's it. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. Just log on to our website, TV360Nigeria.com. You'll find this video and lots more there. You can also watch us on YouTube by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It's TV360 Nigeria. YouTube.com/TV360 Nigeria. And you can also follow us on Google+, is at TV360 Nigeria. And you can, of course, follow us on Facebook as well. Our address is facebook.com/TV360 online. And of course, on Instagram, sorry, I should say on Twitter, it's at TV360 Nigeria. And on Google+, it's at TV360 Nigeria as well. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.